All right. How y'all doing? This week has been mildly shitty. By which I mean, I started doing the Inktober thing. If you remember, I was going to do Inktober this year. And I did my picture for the first. I have it over here somewhere. Let me pull it out. Excuse me while I whip this out. Let me just grab it over here. This is the hell is going on here? It's very confused. Okay, so this is a picture that I did for the first, and I really didn't like it. And because I really didn't like it, I didn't do anything on the second, and then I didn't do anything on the third, and then I didn't do anything on the fourth, and I said, fuck it, I'm just going to go back to playing Starfield. Because it's the kind of person I am. I start doing something, and I'm not happy with the early results, so I just bugger off and don't do the rest of it. And eventually it gets to the point where there's so much catch-up that needs to be done that I know I'm not going to do it. And then I just kind of go, well, fuck it. This often happens to me on National Novel Writing Month as well, which I'm also telling myself I'm going to be participating in. I will definitely write something in November. I always write something in November. But will I write 50,000 words in a cohesive fashion that gets from beginning to end of a story? If history is any indication, no, not at all. So, yeah, that's probably not going to happen either. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to get started on it. I probably won't finish. That's how I am with a lot of stuff, actually. Anyway, yeah, I did spend a lot of time playing Skyrim. Or not Skyrim, but Starfield. And here in my top 5, you can see that it's overtaken Skyrim as number 3 on my most played games from my favorites. If I go to just like all games, if I don't group by collection, then it's like number 7. But a couple of these games are not really things that I count as games that get played a tremendous amount. Grim Clicker in particular has no offline progression. So because it has no offline progression, you have to leave it running all the time. So I don't really count that as a whole lot of play. Terraria did, in fact, get that whole 1,000 hours. Sims 3 absolutely got the whole 770. In fact, it got more than that because I used to have it before it was on Steam. And as you can see, I've got the original Skyrim up here with over 1,000 hours, and then I've got the Skyrim Anniversary Edition with another 626. So I don't really have more hours in Starfield than in Skyrim, but I do have a lot of hours. Adventure Capitalist, while it does have offline progression, I spent a lot of time in that because I really, really wanted to beat the Earth level. I wanted to get all the achievements on the Earth level without ever buying anything in the game, without ever using a single microtransaction, which I accomplished. But yeah, that's where things sit on the all games. Starfield is number 7. And over here on the favorites, then it's number 3. So some stuff has been thrown out of my favorites anyway. None of that has anything to do with why you're here. Why are you here? Are you here? Let me take a quick look. No, nobody is here. Nobody is here at all. That's how streaming works for me. There's nobody here. So, yeah. I come in here and we'll We'll fire something up. I did. I picked up a couple more anatomy books. I got the Morpho anatomy books because they came highly recommended. But I haven't been through them yet, and I got them on Kindle. I didn't get them. I didn't get them in physical format. But yeah, there's a thing that I should do. I don't know what. I don't know what I'm going to be working on this stream. I have no idea. I didn't even think about it. I was busy building a ship in Starfield and then testing it out to make sure it performed well in combat. Which it does. It performs quite well, although I'm not happy with particle beam turrets because turrets just don't seem to fire unless a ship's really close to you. But that's exactly when I have trouble maintaining fire on ships, is when they get really close and are like flying around me in circles and shit. And I tend to make these very large, heavy, ponderous ships that don't maneuver well. So turrets are useful for that particular function. They're just not as useful as I thought they would be. I had certain ideas that I could just like fly into combat with my gunship and watch it take everybody out, but no, not how it works. That doesn't work very well at all. Of course, I do have a fast ship. So I could probably just like fly really close to them and get the turrets to engage. But anyway, I have no idea what I'm doing tonight. I have no idea what this stream is about. I wish my chair worked worth a shit. But you know, one of the things I need to work on is expressions. I don't really do enough work on expressions. And I need to put some time in on that. I'm not really sure how to work on that. I've never seen anybody go over the appropriate process for working on expressions. But like, I feel like a face is fundamentally just two eyes, a nose, and a mouth. So so what I need to do is manipulate the eyes and mouth to create a sense of some kind of emotion, which shouldn't be all that difficult, really. I just need to kind of think about what causes certain expressions to exist. Eyes are largely controlled by the eyebrows. It's like I can change the expression of this face by just altering the eyebrow. I don't know if that's productive or useful at all. Is it helpful to do these kind of iconic expressions? Or am I just wasting time? I think I'm just wasting time. Particularly useful. Not sure what would be useful. I really don't feel much like streaming Yes, I guess I could just kind of talk about what I've been thinking about with regard to art, because I have been thinking about art rather a lot. And one of the things that I've been thinking is it's difficult for me to construct a composition in my head based on an idea. That's really that's the major problem that I had with with Inktober, is that like the first prompt was dream, and I was like, what the fuck? And how do you draw a dream? Is it just somebody sleeping? Or and then I thought, well, a dream is like a little movie that plays in your head, or maybe a television show. And I thought, well, it's kind of like your head's a TV, and that's the only idea I came up with, and it's not a very good one. And I don't think I did a very good job on the implementation. And then the prompt for day 2 was a spider, and I thought about like drawing, like a spider chick, and just having like, there's this spider person standing here, and just putting this huge abdomen on there and drawing all of that out. And then I thought, well, that's hardly inspired, is it? That's not like, you gotta give her big old boobas. Because that's the only reason anybody cares about your pictures of women. Is they got big old boobas. But I couldn't really get a picture in my head of what I wanted it to look like. And that's kind of, that was sort of my frustration with Inktober. Whenever I don't really know what I'm doing, ink seems like exactly the wrong thing to use, because when you use ink, there's a certain confidence you need to have, and you go, I'm going to draw this thing. And I frequently do not have that confidence. I'm just like, I don't know, I want to be like here maybe, or over here, I don't know. Switch to the sketch brush here. Like, I don't know, maybe the arm's here, maybe the arm's up here. Is the hand up, or is the hand down? What pose is the hand in? I don't know. I kind of feel like I need to experiment. I need to do some putzing around and sketching and everything, and I feel like working in ink requires you to have a pretty good idea beforehand. And I guess that's a major reason why artists have sketchbooks, is so they can do the sketch in this little area that it doesn't matter. They can do a thumbnail, or they can do a thumbnail to figure out what their initial composition is going to be, and then they pick the composition. They go, oh, I like this one. I like this particular idea that I came up with. And then they'll take that idea, and then they'll go and they'll do that idea in like full format and have something that's actually larger. And they'll work out all of the bits and pieces of what they're building. And I'm so impulsive about that stuff, you know? I'm just generally not somebody that I am generally not somebody that plans things out, but I do get things. I do get ideas that like haunt me for extended periods of time. And one of those is, for example, I've always wanted to do like, if you see, well, you can't really see right now, but over my shoulder there, you see I've got this poster of Mega Man Konosuba. And the thing is that like I've always had this idea of, well, if you look at the other one, you look at, on the one hand, I've got Mega Man from Konosuba, and right next to that, I've got Makiose from Fire Force. So I always kind of thought that it would be really cool if Megumin was really, really buffed out the same way that Makiose is. And I was thinking it would be cool to draw like buff Megumin in front of buff Megumin standing with her staff in front of the gates of the city from Konosuba, and here's like her hat and everything. This goddamn chair, I swear. I always thought it'd be really cool for her to be standing there in front of the gates, like she's defending the city from something or other that's coming up over the horizon. And I just thought, you know, it would be really cool if Chamusuke, the little black cat that she has with her all the time, which you can see in that poster, you can see the little black cat right here. But it would be really cool if instead of a little black cat, he was like the Incredible Hulk standing behind her, all like huge and muscular and just like ready to stand there and fight at her side and be all big and mean and nasty. And I thought this would be a really cool picture, and that kind of like sticks around, and I think that would be really cool. Another idea that I have is like a hill and a herd of cows. You know, and there's just like this herd of cows, and the cows are all standing off to the side. And in the middle of the herd, there's this one cow. But that one cow is like clearly undead and decomposing. It's like a zombie cow. And all of the flesh is falling off, and you can see it. You can see its bones, and its guts are falling out and stuff. And I always thought that would be a really interesting sort of picture. And both of those ideas are kind of kicking around in my head, and the reason they haven't been done is because I'm not good enough to do them. I'm not skilled enough to do these particular pieces, and at some point I will be, and then I'll work on them. But I also sit here and go, if I'm not going to work on it now, why am I not going to work? Like, couldn't I do a shitty version of Megumin in front of the gates? I mean, Megumin in front of the gates, I could probably do a good job on if I just spent the time. If I just did like what I did with the Gargura Curtain Call Challenge thing. If I just spent the time and did the work and refined the image until it was good, I could probably make that picture. It's not something that's out of my reach. But I don't know, I still feel like it kind of is somehow. And I'm not sure how to deal with that. I'm not sure how to cope with the question that I want to make something and I could probably do an okay job of it right now. Or I could do a better job of it later. And on some level, I go, I'll wait and do a better job later. But I need to do something now. So am I stuck doing something that doesn't excite me and that doesn't inspire me? Should I revisit previous pieces and try to do a better job on them? Is that a thing that I should work on? I don't know. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not. And I wrestle with that. That's one of the things that kind of bugs me about this whole learn to draw thing. The learn to draw thing, the learn to paint thing. I don't know whether I should work on the thing that I want to do well, knowing that I can't do it well, or work on something that I don't care about doing well. Because if I don't care about doing well, I won't do well, and it won't bother me that it's not done well, but I also probably won't learn very much. So that seems like a waste of time. These are questions I don't often have to ask myself because, as I've mentioned, outside of art, outside of like visual artistry, I tend to be pretty good at most of the stuff that I do. So the question of whether to do something I'm going to do a bad job of doesn't really enter the picture when I'm going to work on something else. Like if I'm going to go and write some software, I don't worry about whether I'm going to do a bad job of it. Should I work on something that I don't care about working on so I don't do a bad job? Well, I don't have to think about that with software because I'm good at writing software. I've done it for 30 years. So that's not an issue that I need to contend with. But with art, I do need to contend with that. I need to do something. I need to actually finish pieces. If I don't finish pieces, I'm not going to improve. I'm not going to have anything to show for all of my time, except all of these fucking videos that nobody cares about. And if I don't have finished pieces to share on social media and to put in my portfolio and to show people and say, here's some work that I did. If I don't have that, then that's going to hold me back in a lot of different ways. Like I have to finish work. I have to finish the work and I have to actually do the things. I have to draw and paint all of the backgrounds for my game and all of the characters for my game and all of the various sprites and interface elements. And I got to do all of that stuff. I've got to do literally hundreds of drawings. And when I'm thinking about needing to get all of that stuff done, it doesn't worry me that I've got to get that stuff done. I just kind of go, I'm not ready to get that stuff done yet. Then I look at stuff like, you look at the clicker game Idling to Rule the World. And man, that art sucks. Another thing I was looking at recently is I was looking at some old art. Hold on, I've got a book up on my shelf I can grab for this. I have Art of Arcana coffee table book, which is all of the different artwork that went into the Dungeons and Dragons games. And there's a bunch of stuff in here that is that's not out of the realm of possibility. I could do that. I could do something like that. There's a whole bunch of stuff, particularly from like the early days of Dungeons and Dragons, the early years of TSR. You look at some of these older pictures from the Monster Manual, and they're just not that good. And it's not necessary for them to be that good, And there's here we have the original and the updated artwork from Tomb of Horrors. And I could obviously do some of the stuff that's on that original side, but also obviously I want to do better stuff. I want to do the stuff that's more involved, that's more complex and more appealing. But at the same time, it's just like, is it helping anybody if I just wait and don't do that stuff? don't know if it is. I don't know. I mean, I particularly don't know if it's helping me. So I just kind of wrestle with that, and this is a terrible stream. I'm doing a terrible stream because got to do something, and better to do a terrible stream than nothing. I don't know if better than nothing is the I don't know if that's the actual type of thing that I'm going for. I want at some point to get into actually teaching productively. But in order to teach anything, I got to get good at this shit. Like, I can't expect people to listen to me teach them if I don't know what I'm doing. Like, there's some stuff I can talk about. I intellectually know stuff, but just intellectually knowing it and being able to execute on it are two different things. It's like it's all built around ball, box, the barrel. These are your three fundamental shapes. And then they evolve into the egg, pyramid, and the cone. Which, of course, the cone or the pyramid might be truncated, as might the egg. And all of these shapes, the only thing that you're majorly concerned with is fundamentally you have your lines, which are edges. But then you also have form. You also have the shape of the thing. And if you go along just inside that form, I'm not doing a very good job of here. If you go along the form inside of there, the form without the edges, this is what you would paint. If you were painting, you wouldn't do the edges. You would just go directly to the form. You would put the form on the canvas. You would not put the edges. The form would just be there. And both of these skills are important. It's important to understand the edges of your object. It's important to understand the shape of your object. But when you're painting, you wouldn't use lines to show the edges of your object. What you would use is you would use some kind of shading. Like over here, you would go, okay, this bit here, that's going to be shaded. And you would indicate the edges by how the shading looks. And over here, you wouldn't have the same kind of shading. You would show the roundness of the object with your shading here. And by showing that roundness of the object, you would inherently show the flatness of the object here. And then there, you would have this tendency to produce a highlight up along here. You have a highlight around the edge. And that highlight would give you the effect of knowing where the edge was. And you'd have another edge up along here. But you would show those edges in a different way. You'd show them with the way that the light was hitting it. Rather than with a specific dark line. None of this is stuff I'm very good at. But that whole idea of beginning with your edges, and then from the edges, moving on to your shading and your cross hatching to make shading look intense toward the bottom. Over here, you'd kind of have flat shading to show that this flat surface. Again, not very good at this stuff. But there's all of this basic stuff and all of these basic ideas, and I have trouble applying them to the thing that I'm trying to build. Now this this exists in kind of two superimposed areas in my head. And in those two superimposed areas are, on the one hand, this is absolutely not working. You are doing a terrible job. And then on the other hand, you just got to keep going. The only way to do good work is to do a whole bunch of bad work. So you got to do a bunch of bad work. And I've been doing a lot of bad art. I don't know that much of it constitutes work. And I feel like that's very much an issue for attempting to get anywhere with with anything that you're working. If you're working on something and all you do is fuck around with the tools, you're never going to actually learn how to use those tools because you're not using them to do anything. You're not producing work. And It's like I've been doing things, but those things aren't work. I mean, the hand practice with Hogarth was, but but I'm not really sure where to go with stuff right this moment. I'm not sure what the next step I need to take is. Because I need time for stuff to percolate, time for stuff to sink into my head, but at the same time, I need to use that stuff. I need to make sure that I go in and I draw some hands, that I draw some facial expressions, and that I work on drawing backgrounds, understanding perspective, and all of that sort of thing. But I haven't been doing that. And I'm sitting here right now and I'm thinking that maybe I just trashed the Inktober idea altogether. Actually, I'm definitely trashing the Inktober idea altogether. I said that, and the feeling of relief that came over me to say it, I just went, yeah, I'm doing that. Okay, yeah, Inktober is not it's not pushing me in a direction that seems productive. So I don't know. I think maybe I just jump directly to the whole draw a box thing, or I don't know. Maybe I take some time off and don't do. Maybe I don't jump straight into anything. Maybe I take another month off to play Starfield. I don't know what the right thing to do is, and that's not a comfortable place for me to be, not knowing what to do next, not knowing what the right thing to do, or if there even is a right thing to do. And then at the same time, having this fundamental idea that, yeah, I do. I know what the right thing to do is. I'm just not doing it. And there's no good reason why I'm not. But I'm not. I do need to work on my fundamentals. I do need to work on facial expression. I do need to work on perspective. I think perspective may be the single most important thing for me to work on. I spend a lot of time on anatomy. I got a lot of books on anatomy. I only have like 3 books on perspective. I don't have a whole lot of stuff about perspective, actually. I don't have anything about perspective in my Kindle library. Almost everything is almost everything in my library is anatomy. I really need to put some time in on perspective. That's clearly a deficiency that I need to address. Hogarth doesn't really cover perspective. Who does cover perspective? I do have I have the framed perspective books up here. These Marcos Matsumeister. I got these 2, framed perspective 1 and 2. So I don't know, maybe start with those. That's a good place to. Maybe that's a good place to start. Specifically at perspective. I don't know if that's really the right direction to go. I mean, I need to learn it. There's this mountain of stuff that I don't know and need to learn. And it's like I'm chipping away at it, and I feel like I've spent a really, really long time chipping away at this mountain, and I've gotten some stuff out of it, and I'm pleased with the stuff I've gotten out of it, but it's not enough. It's never enough for me to get where I'm trying to go, and God, that is frustrating. I did some work on landscapes. I did a whole bunch of Sketch Weekly streams on working on landscapes and trying to draw rocks and that sort of thing, and trying to make things look and feel like they belong in the setting. I don't feel like I made any appreciable progress on that, or like it resulted in any kind of meaningful ability that I continue to carry with me. And I'm not sure how to address that. So I'm over here frustrated, and it's not like rage quit frustrated. It's just I need to do something, and whatever it is that I need to do, I can do it. I can do the thing. And I can make progress, and I can get somewhere. But what thing do I do? And that just comes back to making choices, and making choices is simple. You make a list of all of the choices that you could work on. You could work on anatomy, which I've been working on. I could work on perspective. I could work on facial expressions. I could do more reference studies. I could try to work on copying specific styles. There's this big list of stuff to do, and then the first thing that you do is you look over all of those options and you go, okay, throw away everything that's clearly wrong. Okay, so I need to work on process. I need to work on anatomy. Definitely I need to work on anatomy. Perspective I need to work on. And I need to work on lighting, shading, and dynamic wrinkles and drapery and all of that sort of stuff. And as you kind of iterate over that and you pull stuff off of the list, and you just go, well, that's clearly the wrong thing to do. Like, I've been doing anatomy forever, and it hasn't gotten me anywhere. So throw anatomy off the table, because that's the choice I always fall back on. It's clearly the wrong choice, or I would be where I wanted to be now. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. So it's just, the more that I look at that, the more I get, I need to work on shading. I need to work on understanding light and shadow. I need to work on fundamentals. I need to work on perspective. And once you get down to that, once you get down to the point where you're like, I need to work on lighting and shading, fundamentals, and perspective, if you still don't know which of those things is the right thing to do, then you just choose arbitrarily. You can pick any one you want, but just pick one and work on it. And I've been meaning to do the draw box thing and work on fundamentals anyway. So that just seems like the better choice. Is to just go ahead and hit up draw box and start doing that stuff. Just trash the idea of doing Inktober altogether, and immediately start on draw box, and just start working it that way. Okay, yeah, that seems like a plan. God, I've been rambling for 45 minutes. I haven't even drawn anything. I don't know. Do I need to draw? I don't think I need to draw anything. And it is the Sketch Weekly stream, but emphasis on the week and not on the sketch this week. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and starting tomorrow, I'm going to begin going through all of the Drawbox stuff. The 50-50 rule is going to be important on that. So I will, I'll use my timer to make sure that happens. Make sure I do the 50-50. I could do a modified version of that timer. I don't need to do a modified version of that timer. Okay, yeah, that's where things are. That's where I'm gonna go. God damn this chair. God damn these electric sex pants. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go do the Drawbox thing starting tomorrow. Starting in a couple hours, probably. I will get off of this stream and I will hang around for a while getting stuff uploaded, and then I'll bugger off and go start working through the Drawbox lessons. See if I can get started on my lesson 1 homework. There's a lot of that, and it's going to take some time. And then I think I will. I think I will invest some time in doing some interesting poses from reference. Probably from a painter perspective and not a drawing perspective. You need to spend more time painting with a large brush rather than drawing with a fine point. So instead of drawing like that, and just kind of jack up the size and get some very large shapes. I think they want to do that with a square brush. That might be interesting. Anyway, yeah, that's the thing I'm going to do. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, all of that happy horse shit. Jump up my Discord if you haven't already, and okay, bye.